Okay, and welcome to this video where I'm going to be giving you guys my initial thoughts on the Lorier Neptune. I've been anticipating this watch for quite some time now, and to finally get my hands on it was really exciting. It's crazy to think about that this watch is $400, a diver inspired from the 60s, and started by a couple uh, just last year. And so big shout out to Lauren and Lorenzo Ortega for even starting the company, otherwise we wouldn't be able to have our hands on this watch right now. So going ahead and unboxing it, as you can see, we've got the green cardboard box with the Lorier logo on the inside and outside. Covered in paper is the leather roll that the watch comes in, and going ahead and unraveling it, we can see that we have a really nice high quality leather roll that we can take with, I can take with this with me when I'm traveling if I have more than one watch with me. But undoing it, we can see that inside we have a really nice note written by Lorenzo and Lauren Ortega, a small tool to take out the links of the bracelet as well as the watch itself. Getting a closer look at the dial, you can see that this is just a really stunning dial. I obviously went for the gilt version. I was kind of skeptical at first because I was in between the gilt and the blue version, but I ended up going with the gilt because I thought that the gilt would be a better everyday do-it-all watch, as the blue was a little bit polarizing. Even though it was a really neutral blue, I just decided to go for the gilt dial. Something that immediately stands out are the Omega-esque hands and the oversized crown. And you can see that the crown is oversized, but really does give the watch character, gives the watch some unique looks that a lot of watches on the market do not have today. But the bracelet on the watch is really high quality for a sub $400 watch. You can see that the beauty of it just tapering from 20 to 18 millimeters. It's something that you don't really see on watches at this price point. Getting a closer look at the hands themselves, you can see that, like I said earlier, the Omega-esque hands coupled with that second hand really makes this watch something beautiful to look at. The second hand is actually larger compared to the first version that came out. And personally, I'm a fan of this. I think that the 1.0 is really beautiful, but I do think that optimizing the legibility of the watch by making the dial larger makes it all the more better. Going ahead and twisting the bezel on this watch, it's really tight. There's not much play to the watch itself. To the bezel itself. I think that for reference, if you have an SKX, a Seiko SKX, I think that you'll notice that this watch is a lot tighter with minimal play compared to the SKX. And so looking at the second hand itself, you can see that the second hand is a little bit thicker and larger than the Volume 1.0 that came out last year. And so this makes the second hand a little bit more prominent, makes it more visible, gives it more presence when you go ahead and glance at the watch's time. You can also see that the dial is actually larger. It takes up more space, which optimizes the amount of legibility you have compared to last year's Volume 1.0. So kind of going into the dimensions of the watch, this really is a crowd pleaser. It's 39 millimeters in diameter. It has a 48 millimeter lug to lug, as well as a 20 meter lug width. And so this means that whatever bracelet you have, or whatever strap you have, if it's 20 millimeters, which is really common, it's going to fit with this really neutral watch. The only thing is that, if you have a small wrist like mine, the 48 millimeters might be a little bit long, but after putting the watch on and wearing it for 5 days, I find that if you're wearing it on the bracelet in particular, you really don't have this problem because the bracelet helps the watch kind of give it some fluidity, make it really wrap around the wrist with ease, and you really don't find that this thing is nearly 50 millimeters lug to lug. So touching on that crown one more time, the fact that it doesn't have crown guards, it's really appealing to me. I think that it gives it a really clean look with a lot of personality, something that a lot of watches don't have on the market today. The other thing that stands out, of course, is the unique plexiglass domed crystal, and you can see that it's just beautifully domed. Gives the watch not only some thickness, of course, but it really gives it a 3D sensation when you're going down and look at the time. I think that this gives it wonderful depth. It's really unique, and although we see the domed crystal on pictures, it really does not do it justice if we look at the watch in person. And if you kind of are skeptical about this watch being a little too thick because of that crystal, I would say you shouldn't be, because wearing the watch, it does not feel like it's a huge chunk of metal that's really thick on your wrist. It really does feel like you're having a luxurious timepiece on your wrist. You're also getting a watch from a brand that was started last year by two experienced individuals who know what they're doing. And what comes with that is the fact that you can walk down the street and you will not see another person wearing a Laurier watch. To me, that's really special. And I think that that doesn't take anything away from other watch brands, but to know that there is such a beautiful timepiece on my wrist that a lot of people don't know about gives me that sense of like, oh yeah, I'm wearing something that's really unique that deserves this attention. And so I would say that definitely pick up the watch if you're looking for a watch around $400 to $500 because this really does pack a lot in its punch. So just going over some positives, quick positives and negatives since I've only owned this watch for 5 days. I don't have too many negatives. I would say that, Laurier is a really young brand, and so with that comes a future full of hopefully new designs. I think that the only thing for me personally is I would have loved to see a Neptune version with sort of a date complication on it. Obviously, the Neptune is itself a design without the date complication. But if they could have kind of incorporated a 6 o'clock date with a trapezoidal window, kind of like they do on the Laurier Hydra on the Neptune, that would be an ideal watch for me. But the negatives are far outweighed, and I wouldn't even consider that a negative. The negatives are far outweighed by the positives on this watch. I think that for the design, the quality, the feel, the robust, reliable NH35 movement inside the watch, you're getting a lot of watch for $400. Now, I think that Laurier have made a really beautiful watch for the future because this is something that I don't think will go out of style anytime soon. I also think that the watch itself is it's timeless in its design. I think that even though it won't go out of style in the future, it also has an immense tribute to the watches made before them, and they do it with a lot of humility. I'm going to go ahead and give this watch some more wrist time over the next couple weeks. That way I can give you guys another video, probably with a recap and a review of the watch after wearing it for some time. Right now there's still initial thoughts, but hopefully in the future I will be able to do that. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys are definitely in the market for this watch, I would say go for it. It's a really, really good investment in your money because you're getting a lot of watch for $400. Big shout out to Lorenzo and Lauren Ortega. Please give them a follow on Instagram. They're really communicative and they always get back to you. So I'm going to leave their link in the description as well. And thank you for watching.